Thanks very much. SG, over to you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press, and Comrade Donald Silamulela, a member of our communications department, standing in for Zuko, who because of family commitments could not be with us here today, overseeing this press conference. On Thursday, 18th July 2024, the President delivered his opening of Parliament address outlining the priorities of the 7th administration of our democratic state. This takes place in the context of the establishment of a government of national unity, necessitated by electoral outcomes that required cooperation across political spectrum to improve the lives of all citizens. The opening of Parliament address and the debate by all political parties in response to the address raised important programs that the 7th administration and Parliament will be seized with in the coming 5 years. The ANC welcomes the immediate priorities identified by the President's opening of Parliament address, which reflect the priorities identified by the ANC in its 2024 manifesto, to advance the building of a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. The three strategic priorities outlined by the President respond to the most burning challenges facing our nation and its people. After 30 years of democracy, South Africa made progress on building a dynamic, inclusive, non-racial, non-sexist, and vibrant system of governance, with strong democratic institutions aimed at meeting basic needs, investing in people, and transforming the economy. At the same time, the quality of basic services, the link between the people and government, crime and corruption, land and agrarian reforms, and persistent and deep fault lines of poverty, inequality and unemployment remain challenges which requires urgent attention. As we all acknowledged, the national economy has stagnated in terms of economic expansion, economic transformation and inclusion, thus failing to produce the income and wealth distribution envisioned by the National Democratic Revolution. Persistent low rates of investment, deindustrialization, and relocations of industrial bases have all conspired to undermine the framework for sustainable employment creation in the country. These economic challenges have significantly hindered our progress towards achieving equitable and inclusive growth and development. The liberation of Africans in particular, and black people in general, from political and economic bondage, uplifting the quality of life of all South Africans, especially the working class and poor, the majority of whom are Africans and female, remains at the center of ANC policy. The debate by all represented political parties on the opening of Parliament address indicates consensus on the triple challenges facing the people in our country: unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Of course, given the ideological range represented in Parliament, there will be disagreement, represented in the colorful rhetoric and pretenses we heard yesterday. That some, for their own survival and exposing their political bankruptcy, wants to present the ANC as having sold out the people. And the ANC will speak for itself. When their own ethno-nationalism, backwardness, and inconsistency constitute a betrayal of the people. Even during the sixth administration, they consistently voted with the party they now despise against progressive policies introduced by the African National Congress. They are in so-called progressive coalition with others of their ilk, yet all they represent is a pushback against the vision of a united, non-racial, democratic, non-sexist, and prosperous South Africa. On the other extreme of the spectrum of liberal conservatism, there are those with us who cannot deny the moral and just cause of redress, as set out by the Constitution of the Republic. And yet, they continue to want to cling to their privileges, to deny universal health coverage to the majority, and to prevent our schools from providing equal opportunities to all. The ANC's 112 years since its formation remains steadfast in its commitment to the cause of the people. It is for this reason that it frankly admits where it made mistakes and self-corrects. It remains the only force in the country which consistently advocates and works for unity, nation building, non-racialism and non-sexism, and will not be deterred despite setbacks. It remains unfaltering in its mission to build a national democratic society through a thoroughgoing program of social and economic transformation. It is for these reasons, having resolved on the option of a government of national unity as the least risky option, we ensured that the minimum program of such a government of national unity and the seventh administration reflected the priorities of the ANC manifesto. All 10 parties who signed the statement of intent committed themselves to this minimum program, which now finds expression in the President's opening of Parliament address, which in itself constitutes the program of action of government. The priorities outlined by the President are firmly grounded on the 6 priorities outlined in the ANC manifesto, which also informed the minimum program of the ANC-led government of national unity. The ANC 2024 manifesto is designed to continue the process of building a national democratic society by getting South Africa on track to achieve the overarching national goals of eradicating poverty and reducing inequality. Our country's policy trajectory remains firmly grounded on the National Development Plan 2030, which informs all our efforts to improve the lives of all South Africans, especially the working class and the poor, the majority of whom are Africans and female, and fundamentally, the liberation of Africans in particular and black people in general from political and economic bondage. The 3 priorities announced by the President, which will inform government's detailed medium-term development plan, firmly buttress our 6 priorities. The President outlined plans that seek to give practical expression to these priorities. On putting South Africa to work, priority number 1, focus on social employment is an important building block in creating sustainable livelihoods. We have no doubt that continued focus and expansion of current intervention, such as the presidential employment stimulus, the expanded public works program, and similar interventions will yield the desired results and create a multiplier effect in uplifting our people out of abject poverty. We are equally encouraged by the focus on job opportunities and skills development targeting young people, which will directly address the plight of youth unemployment. Building on progress that has been made by the 6th administration, the ANC in government will double its efforts in support of small and medium enterprises in townships and rural areas, alongside harnessing the economic potential of the informal sector for inclusive growth and job creation. Priority number 2, building our industries for an inclusive economy. The ANC welcomes the government's commitment to a smart industrial policy that focuses on the competitiveness of our economy, which incentivizes businesses to expand our exports and create jobs. This is in line with the ANC's commitment to advance industrialization as a driver of economic transformation with active support for localization and high growth and labor-intensive industries. The beneficiation of our minerals is a long-established policy of the ANC, which must be given urgent attention. We are pleased by the President's commitment that is a priority of the 7th administration, which will undoubtedly transform our economy and spur its growth. Giving impetus to the implementation of master plans developed for various industries, advancing the green economy, which includes support for the manufacturing of electronic vehicles, are important priorities that build on the progress of the 6th administration. Black economic empowerment and support for those on the fringes of the economy remain central pillars of government policy, and we welcome government's commitment to this effect. The implementation of the Freight Logistic Roadmap is a critical building block in growing the economy, ensuring that we improve the competitiveness of our economy and play a lead role in giving practical expression to the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. That backlog between South Africa and Richards Bay, it's about to be done away with in terms of this policy, and is building on the 6th administration to address the logistical crisis that we found ourselves, opening up that the trains are running, working with the private sector. It is going to make our economy to flourish in a faster pace. Priority number 3, tracking the high cost of living. Our manifesto placed emphasis in making intervention that tackle the high cost of living, which includes prioritizing food security through broadening the basket of basic goods that are VAT exempt and land reform, amongst others. I heard others claiming easy victories, that they've brought this into the GNU. The ANC talked about the exempt of essentials in terms of VAT in the ANC manifesto. Go and check it. The President talked about it yesterday as part of these priorities of this government. The ANC government will not compromise on the implementation of the National Health Insurance to make quality health care affordable and available to all. The President signed this into law, and as you heard in the State of the Nation, there is no retreat with regard to that. The ANC is committed to expanding the social relief of distress grant, and government commitment to this effect will go a long way in broadening the social security net for those who have no other means to support themselves. We talked about basic income grant before the elections. It's in our program of action. This is what we're going to implement, expanding those who are in distress. The 350 we said will be changed to address those who are in the fringes, to enable them as they look for job and they are job seekers and all of that, whilst they are in that role, they are able to be relieved before they get employment. Invest in people is priority number 4 of the ANC. The President made an unequivocal commitment to investing in our people by meeting the basic needs of all, investing in education, improving health outcomes, and improving service delivery. This also includes ensuring that the skills, capabilities, resources, and energies of all South Africans are used to the greatest effect. Priority number 5, defend democracy and advance freedom. Our commitment to protecting and upholding the hard-won rights of workers remains unwavering. This is reflected in the President's commitment in this regard. We are encouraged that government is committed to ensuring that the progress we have made in this regard is not eroded. while it continuously strives to improve the working conditions of the workers in South Africa. The sixth priority, building a better Africa and the world. In our manifesto, we had committed to strengthen the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area through economic diplomacy. Government has committed to the realization of this goal to increase our exports to the rest of the continent. We have similarly committed to advancing progressive internationalism and solidarity with the peoples of Palestine, Western Sahara, Cuba, and others. The President made an unwavering commitment to promoting peace, security, democracy, and development across Africa through our country's foreign policy, advance a more just and inclusive world order. We are pleased that the ANC-led Government of National Unity has defined its electoral mandate in line with what we presented to the voters in our manifesto. It is equally an affirmation that there is more that unites us than what divides us. The various parties in the JNU may differ on tactics on how to achieve certain goals, but we are in agreement on the overarching objectives that are contained in the National Development Plan, which continues to guide the work of government. The ANC further welcomes the advisory opinion issued by the International Court of Justice, ICJ, in The Hague. According to the opinion, Israel is obligated to cease its illegal occupation in Palestine promptly. The court has stated that Israel must withdraw without delay and provide reparations for the damages caused in Palestine. It is crucial to note that all countries are urged not to acknowledge Israel's unlawful occupation or support its continuation. As the ANC, we have long held that view that the continued annexation and the occupation of Palestinian land is incongruent with international law. We have maintained that the Palestinian people have the right to a sovereign state. Given that this opinion was requested by the United Nations General Assembly, it confirms the illegality of Israel's occupation of Palestine, including violations of the crime of apartheid, a crime against humanity, and requires other nations to ensure Israel's withdrawal and not assist in its occupation. The ANC affirms its solidarity with the people of Palestine. The South African government has been unrelenting in the fight to defend the cause of peace, justice, solidarity, and multilateralism in the international arena. Our unwavering commitment to a rules-based international order, justice, and international law are expressed in our recent case at the International Court of Justice. Our defense of the people of Palestine is at the same time an assertion of the rights and sovereignty of all oppressed peoples of the world, worldwide. Our position is a strong call for a global fight for human rights and the right to self-determination, as well as categorical rejection of wars of aggression as legitimate means of solving political problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you.